And what's up, everyone, and welcome to the Real One, the Canes podcast. We are back. Took a week off, and it's summertime. We gotta get it where we can. Here's my boy Brandon O'Doy. Follow him at Brandon_O'Doy. He's home with all of his kids and everything going on in his life. This guy's at graduations. He's all over the place. He's at the church. He's everywhere that he ought to be, man. He's a man amongst town. I'm the Beast, Brian London. Follow me at Miami Radio Beast. And it's funny how topics for the show develop. So Brandon and I were just having a conversation before we started rolling about who the most popular Cane of, like, let's say from Al Golden on. Should we do that? Is that a fair? Randy Shannon, you want to go back to Randy Shannon?
20 years, 2004 to current day.
Well, if you talk about 2004, you're still talking about a lot of first round draft picks.
Okay, so let's do Randy Shannon. Randy Shannon.
Well, Randy Shannon was what, 2007?
7 to 9, right?
Yeah.
No, 2007 to 11, right?
Right, and then Al Golden, and then
Randy Al.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go from like Randy Shannon through where we are now.
Okay, so talking about most popular players, right?
Yeah. Like who's like, because we're talking about superstars. We're talking about superstars. We're talking about like big time players.
So while you rearrange your whole office there, so like I think under Shannon, you had a lot of draft picks, high guys. I think you have Brandon Harris. I believe he was a second round pick. DeMarcus Van Dyke, I believe, was a third round pick and a former Cane coach. Sam Shields had a very good career for Green Bay. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind from the Shannon era. Sean Spence was a pretty solid coach. Well, he's a pretty solid player and now a coach, and he kind of blended into the Golden era. Denzel Perryman comes to mind from the Golden era, especially as one of the better players. He was a good college player, but I think Perryman made a lot of waves with the Chargers.
All right, I'm back a little bit, but Denzel Perryman has had a secretly pretty good pro career.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he was to Cane sympathizers, he was a good Cane, but
right.
He's probably more known for what he's done in the NFL. Like, he's had a tremendous NFL career. And while we're talking about that, Al Golden doesn't get enough credit. His guys are still in the freaking league. Like, he has, from Feliciano to Perryman to Rashad Jenkins to Deion Bush, who made a play in the Super Bowl, to, Golden had a lot of talent. Duke Johnson just retired. Tracy Howard played some time. He
by the way,
he went to Cypress Bay. He was an offensive lineman. I think he played for the Vikings for a little time.
Yeah. By the way, you know who we're forgetting, by the way. And this one's gonna slap you over the head, and it's only because of his random career path. Jimmy Graham.
Oh, you're talking? Oh, because of
because he came from basketball.
Yeah. So he's under Randy Shannon, right? Toward the end.
Yeah, correct.
And did he blend in the Golden, or was he done?
No, I think he was. Yeah, I think he was just. He was drafted in 2010, so he was before Golden.
Yeah. Okay, and David Njoku, a
good one
guy.
If you're talking another big one, another couple, man. I'm looking at this list of drafted players.
Yeah, you're looking at the.
I don't
going off the top of my head.
Is Leonard Hankerson was pretty huge for a while.
Yeah, played for what, the 49ers?
He played for the former Redskins, now the Commanders. And
it was good for them. I had him on my fantasy for a little while.
Yeah, that's how we judge it. Olivier Vernon is in that mix. Lamar Miller had a long NFL career
in Houston. Yep.
Travis Benjamin.
Trav played really well. That
Um,
Travis Benjamin was a
so
Shannon kid, right?
yeah, so the question is, what are we trying to define the guy that had the best, like, was the superstar in college, or the guy that went on to have the best NFL career?
I think it's. I mean, you want a guy that did well in Coral Gables or in Miami Gardens, wherever you deem that to
Correct.
be. But you do also want a guy that has some production. I mean, because what different does it really matter? I mean, we know Ray Lewis because of what he did as a Raven, right? I
No,
mean, he
no,
was.
No, Brandon. You don't
That's
like
not my
because you,
era. So I'm
yeah,
I'm
like you don't
saying
go back far enough to remember Ray Lewis, like just apps, like being the superstar of superstars.
okay. So okay, Ray Lewis did it on both levels. But
Yeah.
okay, so if that's fine, so give me a Ray Lewis, give me an Ed Reed, guys that were dominant at both places. I like the
Well,
best of the best.
I
But
mean,
these are
like
Hall
on
of Fame
like
dudes.
yeah, like Hall of Fame. Okay, so that's okay. Who's the next Hall of Famer from the last 15 years?
No, we
That's
don't have Hall
it.
of Famer.
Are,
That's the
are you?
problem. And look, I tweeted it when I saw on Twitter that they were honoring during the spring game Andre Johnson and um you know I'm blanking on the returner Devin
Oh, Devin
Hester.
Hester. Yeah,
So I tweeted, I said, okay, I got the key to this. Recruit Hall of Famers. When you have a
actually,
Hall of Famer, you're gonna win
I might,
championship.
I might have one for you.
Okay.
He was a Randy Shannon guy, or he played under. He might have played under Coker and Randy Shannon, so he just kind of fits in, and he had a amazingly awesome NFL career, long one. Calais Campbell.
Yeah. And Calais Campbell is, can I tell you a funny story? I sat next to Calais Campbell on a flight to Miami as I was moving here
I hope I
17
hope that it
years ago.
was I hope that it was first class because he is huge.
No, it wasn't first class, but it worked because we were in, those seats right behind first class and coach that
Yeah,
have
like a
extended leg room because
yeah.
the that's
The
where you
bulkhead.
get on and off the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was in the window seat and I was in the aisle seat. And I don't think we had anybody in the middle. And he basically had to basically tell me who he was. And I was like, man, you're kind of huge. But he was Calais Campbell, and he's still playing, if you can freaking believe that. He's been
I mean,
playing since
I
I
I
was on a
think
plane with him 17 years ago.
I think even if it's because of longevity, I think he could be an NFL Hall of Famer or Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Well, he's about the only one that there could be because a lot of the guys that are playing now that are Canes are role guys. You know,
Right.
the Perriman's best years are behind him.
Correct.
Now, okay, switch the topic. Who has Hall of Fame potential from recent years
I'll give you
or
one.
okay, go ahead.
I think this guy. I think the sky's the limit. Especially if you read all the off-season publications and all that stuff. And call me crazy, okay? Tyreek Stevenson.
Yep. You took the words out of my mouth. Got to be a high draft pick guy. He's a second rounder. He's a football hotbed kid. I know him personally. Yeah, why is
Right?
that
I
so
mean,
funny? Yeah.
no. I just
No.
I love when you throw out that I know him personally, and it's
No,
just
because
like
it's just like he's not somebody I covered. I've been on the road with this
right.
kid for a
Yeah.
week. Like, I mean, yeah, this is a kid that I know. So yeah, I mean, you think about it. He went to Georgia. He started out playing on the best team, probably. I know Miami thinks they have the best team ever in '01, but that Georgia team, it's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
So he was on
Awesome
that
team.
team. And I
Yeah,
tried
for
to tell,
sure.
I said, man, he was a starter on that team. He started in the slot. And so it was a situation where he just didn't like the position he was playing. He wanted to play on the outside. And strangely enough, he looked amazing as not strangely enough, but he looked amazing as a rookie. And yeah, I would agree with that. He is on pace. after a really
I
really
mean,
good rookie
it's
season.
early. It's early, but
It's super early,
man,
but yeah, no, I mean
everything
he had a decent
everything you read about.
Cane career,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
he
for
had
sure.
one year he was definitely injured. The year he wasn't, he balled out,
Bald.
right? It was he was a island, and then he goes and he's like a second round pick, almost first, and then he had a great rookie campaign. So yeah, I'm buying that.
Let me ask you this question then: who's on the team right now? And I know, I mean, I know what you're. It's almost too easy. Who's on the team right now that if you had to project out has a chance to be that great? Come on, Brandon, you can do it. You can get
No,
there.
I'm not gonna say Cam Ward.
No,
Quarterbacking is tough.
no. I'm thinking the other side of the football.
You got me, buddy. Come on, who you got?
Ru- Ruben Hurricane
Oh,
Bane.
Bane. Um,
You disagree?
Not that I disagree. I just want to see a sophomore campaign.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought, yeah,
That makes sense.
another hotbed kid, very close to Ruben. Talked to him recently. I'm not gonna be one of those guys that interviews him, but we have a previous relationship, so
Sure.
it's not like you can't blame me for talking to the kid because I knew the kid before he ever played high school football.
Right.
But I want to see how he responds to, because on the after that Clemson game, they gave him all the attention on defense.
Oh. Huh.
And so I want to see him. I'm not saying you're wrong. I want to see him respond to going into games and teams knowing. I mean, dude, they gave him a 93 rating on NCAA. Like, people think he's going to be a dude. So, and he was a dude
And
for the first half of the
and
season.
he's gonna. I mean, definitely at the next level, if not before, he's gonna permanently move inside. I'm guessing.
Oh, I think he moves inside first game. So, but at the end of the day, I think he wants to continue to flirt with outside. And so he's in good shape. He looks great. And this was like a month ago I saw him. So no telling. I mean, he works his butt off. He
Oh,
had
no doubt.
he had a setback during the spring. He set out some time, but he's good to go. And yeah, I mean, listen, this is a fun conversation because if you don't have guys that are future Hall of Famers, first rounders, second rounders, you really don't have a good football team. And that's what we've seen. I mean, he said, say what you want. Listen, we talked about this during the season. I said Al Golden is the best coach in the last 20 years at the University of Miami, and it got so much pushback. Think about it. His guys are still playing. There are almost no draft picks from the
Okay,
past 4 or 5 years. These guys are
but then
still in the
Brandon, that
league.
goes. Okay, but that just talks about
Now,
okay. Al Golden recruited talented kids, but they couldn't win with them.
No. You're right. But what I'm saying is, when you talk about talent, he knew how to go get it. Now, he couldn't coach it, but he knew how to go get it. And I think a lot of that is just his loyalty to his boys. And listen, if you're going to ride for your dogs, I'm not going to be mad with you, but you got to take responsibility for your actions. And he hasn't been a head coach since. So hopefully it was worth it. But at the end of the day, I mean, nobody can knock him for not being a loyal friend, because he definitely was that. And,
listen, there's a lot of talented players that are on the roster right now, really talented. But there's no one other than Bane. I'm looking up and down the roster that I would that I see wearing that Hall of Fame jacket one day, like right now. That doesn't mean 3 games into the season or all of that stuff.
Call me biased, but a young man I graduated today has a shot to be super special, and nobody's seen him do anything.
Well, okay. You know what? I didn't count him.
I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna let everybody watch.
Okay, so
but there was a young man that walked across the stage today at my private school that has a chance to be Hall of Fame special. Yes, he
I
does. 3.9
purpo-
GPA
I purposely did
special.
not I purposely did not bring him up because I was going to get to the picture I saw of him walking across that stage going, you know
He
what?
gave a great speech too.
There might be someone on the way that could get there.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I like both of them. And they both played at Central and Miami Central, that is. And that's a great legacy. You need Central Rockets at the University of Miami.
Always.
And
Always have.
you need Central Rockets, you need Northwestern Bulls, you need St. Thomas Aquinas Raiders, you need all the top teams, really.
Would like to get some
Columbus,
American Heritage
Brewers.
Patriots.
Yeah. If you can get a DB, I mean, we have one. No, us two starters are from there. If you think about it, Porter went there, and so did Brown.
Right,
So
true.
I mean, yeah, you didn't get Pastor Tang, you didn't get
Correct. There was a
who
whole
is you?
long
Yeah,
list of running backs, receivers, and
yeah. I mean, there's a list of guys you didn't get, but focus on the guys
Sony.
you did get. Got Mark Fletcher, got Daryl
Correct.
Porter. Yeah, you got him through the portal, but you got him. We got Tyreek through the portal. So it is what it is. Beggars cannot be choosers.
Real quick before we take a break, just tell me about AB as a kid, not even as a football player.
He's the kind of kid that stays after class to talk to professors about their days, gets invitations for dinner, goes in for extra work, starts talking and calling his parents about how much he likes class on like the first week of school. So excited, like can't wait to get to class, majoring in engineering as like a 5-star. Humble, super respectful, Mr. Brandon this, Coach Brandon that. I don't have enough good things to say about the kid. I'm sorry. It just I don't have to fake or embellish anything. He just really is who he says. He just really is that guy. And this has nothing to do with football.
Right.
I have no idea what to expect out of him as a football player. As a person and as a student, it's as good as it gets.
Yeah, and the thing about it is you need that. And
by
the way,
listen, he boosted the whole DN the DN GPA on the team was like a 2.3. And now it's like a 3 something because he got a 3.9. And here's the crazy part. He got all A's and 1 A minus. It's so weird. He was like this close to a 4.0. And then it's strange. I think it was a mistake. Like they said he didn't turn in an assignment that he actually turned in. It's weird. Like he should have had a 4.0.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There's always been this like misnomer that you can't be that kind of kid, academic,
yes, of course. Listen, I said
whatever, and be a defensive end dog.
Well, okay, so it's funny because he didn't know that defensive ends were not typically academically, prolific. And so when everybody started making a big deal about him doing well in school, like he was caught off guard by that. Like, wait a minute. But then like DNs just don't do well in school. Like they typically are the lower performing group. Like I said, he bumped the position group GPA basically by himself. And so I know the coaches were pleasantly surprised of how well he did. Because I mean, he obviously had great grades coming in out of high school. But coaches are looking, 4.3, high school, whatever. No, bro, you're at the U. This is a top 50 academic institution. This ain't, Joe Blow College. This is for real. And he's majoring in engineering. So it's not like he's trying to just skip through. You know what I mean? He's not majoring in recreational whatever. And no offense to
Underwater
anybody
basket
who is,
weaving, yeah.
He's just not. So yeah, without making this the Armando Blount show, I feel great about the kid. So I'm excited.
All right.
By the way,
yeah.
Before we take a break,
Yeah.
Simeon Barrow is back on the defense. Since we're talking about D-line, Simeon Barrow is back in the fold. He'd been practicing for a week, according to reports. And, we didn't do a show last week, but he left the team. Reportedly, there was talk about him moving forward to other universities. How he was going to do that, I have no idea. But especially when he already took classes. But I think there was just some cold feet, but got it all together. And he's back in tow. So a lot to
That's
like in
good,
that D-line room.
man. It's gonna be. But I think it's gonna be the best unit in the country. But we shall see.
Looks really, really good on paper.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side, I want to pick your brain real quick about what changes because in Florida now, high school kids are allowed to have NIL deals. So you know a lot more about that stuff in the high school game down here than I do. So I just want to pick your brain real quick. We'll do that on the other side. You're listening to the Real Ones Canes podcast. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Watch it on YouTube. If you're there, like, thumbs up, do all that stuff. And we appreciate you. We'll be back right after this on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Welcome back to the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Brandon O'Doy. Follow him on X at Brandon_O'Doy. I'm the Beast, Brian London. Follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Follow the show at Real Ones Canes. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel on YouTube. Please give us a thumbs up and like all the shows and write a comment. Meanwhile, some news in the state of Florida as it relates to NIL. Other states have done this, Brandon. Are you okay over there? Things falling apart? You good?
No. Looking for the mute button. Got my daughter down here, so.
And no worries. Brandon's doing the daddy thing right now, so we're trying to get the show in. Brandon, other states have done it where they've allowed high school kids to have NIL deals. What does it mean in the state of Florida for this to now go into effect here?
It means we're keeping pace with what 36 other states have done, and it's essentially the deregulation of amateurism across the country. You're seeing it with the college kids getting paid, now the high school kids. Basically, they're allowing you to profit. It's basically the extension of the American dream. If I can use my own name, my image, and anything looking like me and cartoonish, that's what the likeness piece is, to make a dime, then I should be allowed to do that and not be ineligible to play high school football. And so, or any sport for that matter. We just happen to be in the football business primarily here at the Real Ones Canes podcast. But a nice ruling essentially allows you with certain parameters to profit off of who you are, your brand, how many Twitter followers you have. There have already been some guys who are reporting deals. It doesn't become official until July. It's expected to be ratified. It was passed and approved. Doesn't become official. This is really going to only affect maybe the top 1% of athletes in this country, in this state. You've got to have a combination of elite athletic ability, and you've got to have a social media following. It's going to want to make people spend money and give you situations and things to kind of work with. There are no collectives allowed, so schools cannot build up coffers or booster clubs to convince kids to play. Everything, in order for it to be legal, has to be registered with the FHSAA, so there can be no funny business. And perhaps the best rule in consideration to corralling this situation is that in the year that you transfer schools, you're ineligible to receive NIL, so you cannot be persuaded to come over by the moolah. So you got to sit a year to get paid.
Two questions. One, although with there being no collectives, I think that makes it a little more of a even surface across the whole thing. But could this help, or could this be more beneficial for some of the private schools that have maybe a different donor base than some of the public schools?
I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps private. I mean, there were some tweets, but they seem to be a little bit ill-founded. I don't think this helps public or private. People have to understand name, image, and likeness in college and name, image, and likeness in high school will present in completely different ways. The high school NIL is way more pure. and people are just not throwing money to, various private schools just for certain kids to go there. Again, there may be some businesses that through some third party action may get one or two guys involved, but again, if you transfer someplace, you can't be there. Maybe maybe you want to start taking care of the guys you have so that they don't leave, because this is especially in South Florida, this is a very transient high school football population. You can do that with some, creative abilities with, business ownerships and things, but like whoever owns the businesses can't be directly related to the school. So like it can't be someone's dad or someone's uncle or anything like that. So there's some parameters that make it a little tricky, but what the early indications are, we're seeing um a lot of activity from 7-on-7 teams. South Florida Express has already inked a few deals. Um, the reports are that they are getting a deal from American Eagle, two of their athletes.
Yeah.
They're four-star kids. One's a 5-star. Looking at a bunch of top name schools. But the reports are they already have a deal in place. They're probably going to get some clothing from American Eagle, and reportedly the booster of the owner of American Eagle is an Ohio State grad. So those are the types of things that I expect to see if you're not being recruited by those elite level schools and they've got boosters. Like I can see a kid that Miami is recruiting getting a Bojangles NIL deal, and so I think that's how it's going to present. It's not going to present with high schools getting involved actively. This is going to come from college in consideration of attracting a kid. And so instead of giving him upfront money to sign, hey, we're going to give you an NIL deal in the state of Florida. And it had to be done because now if you don't have it, they have it in Georgia, they have it in Texas. And I think one of the reasons Miami lost out on a few recruits in this most recent cycle is because kids in Texas and kids in California were already getting NIL deals, meaning they could start getting the profits for the schools that they were planning on going to through, sort of third party means, and it was all legal.
So the state of Missouri, I heard this on the Levitard show. State of Missouri has a thing where if you get an NIL deal in high school, you have to stay. You have to commit to a college in Missouri to play your college football. Mizzou.
That's terrible.
You don't like it? I would love for there to be a thing where I'm
Missouri,
biased.
the thing is, first of all, Missouri's in the SEC. Everybody cannot play there. In Missouri, high school football is not at the level. They're basically saying there's no NIL. So what they're saying is, we want our best players. They can get paid, but they got to go to Mizzou.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, why even pass that? That's the silliest thing. It affects almost no one. They're basically saying no one can get NIL. The only kids that can get NIL are the kids that can play at Mizzou and want to go to Mizzou. And who's that going to be? That's going to be the top maybe 5 players in the state. It's silly. It's the silliest rule I've heard of.
I kind of wanted to keep some Florida kids home.
That's the thing. NIL is about freedom. It's not about shackles.
Ooh, I like that. Look at you. It's like it's not your first rodeo.
Hey, man. I took a week off. I needed the rest. I got back. I'm blazing. But,
all right,
my
man.
kids are about to turn up. So what else you got?
Yeah. Nothing, man. We're good. We are efforting a guest for next week. We'll see if that comes through one way or the other. I will be probably doing the show. You know what? Actually, I might still be here, but I'm about to go on my annual trip up north to go see all the relatives, my wife's relatives, the whole family. But we will.
Is your wife from Boston too?
My wife's from my wife's from down here, but her family all moved to Connecticut. So,
okay.
So every summer we do a week in
Northeast?
Boston, a week in
Oh,
Connecticut. We we do all that Northeast situation. So we do that, but
Yeah,
we
wait
will
till
be
the summer.
here. Yeah, we will be here. And listen, stay cool, man, because this heat outside in South Florida is ridiculous.
And do you know what? My AC is out in my truck. having a great time.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need an AC sponsor. We need an AC sponsor on this show.
There we go. We need an AC sponsor, and we need a truck sponsor. Get Brandon a new truck.
No, well, the truck's fairly new. It's like a freak thing. It's the 2021. I have no
All right,
idea.
well, listen, if anyone's a mechanic out there, hop over to Brandon's house, go fix his AC, okay?
Hey, I'll take a new truck. I mean, I ain't gonna turn nothing down.
We should only be so lucky, man. Hey, listen, glad we could catch up here, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for watching and listening to the Real Ones Cane podcast. Peace!